Hi, this is another video on depression, and specifically this is a video talking about how firefighters are related to depression. Now it seems like a weird juxtaposition, right? But let me explain. It is summer, as all of you know, and here in Nebraska there are things called demo derbies. And a demo derby is basically where someone will take an old car and they'll kind of rip out the innards and weld like metal on it and a roll cage and stuff like that. And then they'll go out into the arena with other old cars that have been modified, and they'll start smashing each other up and basically see who's the last car standing. So my husband and I went to one of these, and the fire department was there. Now, the fire department is always there for safety reasons. And while we were there, 2 of the cars did catch on fire, and the firefighters were there to put it out. Now, I am somebody who lives with depression. I have lived with depression for most of my life. Thankfully, I'm on some kind of treatment. Thankfully, it's not nearly as bad as it used to be. But sometimes I come up with metaphors for depression during the oddest times, and this was one of them. I was looking at the fire department and how they're putting out those fires, and I was thinking of how we ourselves who live with depression need to have our own personal fire department. Now, the fire department couldn't put out those fires if they did not have their tools, right? If they didn't have a hose, if they didn't have an axe, if they didn't have their truck, they wouldn't be able to do anything. They would just be useless. There wouldn't be any reason to have them. Now, depression is the kind of illness that makes you feel hopeless and useless and defeated because it wrecks your self-esteem, your self-confidence. It makes it very difficult to function. So when we are suffering from depression, we need our own tools. Just like that firefighter needs a water hose to put out a fire, we need the right tools to get ourselves through the day, through the week, to keep ourselves from becoming a victim of depression. So one of the things that you should always have is a support group. One of the things that depression encourages is isolation and loneliness. Partly because when you are going through one of those very bad days, you don't want anyone to see you because you feel like a wreck, you feel weak, you feel ashamed, you feel like no one really, you feel like you're not worthy of someone else's attention because you are such a mess. But when you indulge in that isolation, it makes it worse. So have a support group, have friends that will listen to you when you need to talk to somebody. If you can, find a support group that meets every week. This will really keep you accountable. You will have to get out of the house at least once a week for this, and that will help. It'll give you something to look forward to, give you people to talk to, which is very, very important for depression. Another thing that you need to have at your disposal is movement. Now, depression really makes it hard to be active because you feel like you are so tired all the time that you can't do anything. You have no energy. I used to tell my friends that I felt like a slug. I felt like a slug that was moving at half speed and had no energy whatsoever. During the worst times, I'd have aches and my body would hurt. My entire body would hurt. And it's hard to move when you feel like that. It's nearly impossible because it takes everything you have. But you need to have some kind of movement. And this doesn't have to be where you go someplace and you do an hour-long class. You're not capable of that when you are going through depression. And that's okay. That's nothing to be ashamed of. Don't ever be ashamed of that. Find something that allows you to move for 10 to 15 minutes, that is easy, gentle, that you look forward to, that you enjoy. Don't go after something that is drudgery, is a chore that you hate, that you don't feel like you could possibly make it through that 1 hour, because you won't go back, and that defeats the entire purpose. So find something that you enjoy that might just be 10 minutes. There are a lot of 10-minute workouts for Pilates, for yoga. They're online, they're on DVDs, they're really easy to find. Or even just a walk around the block, because it gets you out of the house and moving. And the best thing you can do for your body is movement. Movement will help. Another tool that you should have at your disposal is love. You need to love yourself. And I know that's very hard when you're going through depression. I used to tell my friends that I knew this rationally, because everyone does. Rationally, we know we are capable of being loved and self-love and all that stuff. But emotionally, that was very hard for me to grasp. Emotionally, that was not connecting. And when you're going through your worst depression, that is very hard to believe. So, fake it. Fake it till you love yourself. The tool you need is giving yourself small signs of love. Buy yourself a favorite body wash. Get something new at a thrift store that's like $10, but that you love. Find a movie that you look forward to. Give yourself a hug. If no one's there to give you a hug, give yourself a hug. Find some way to show love to yourself. Repeat positive things to yourself. And be aware of your environment. Listen to lyrics that are positive, that have a good message, that encourage love and healing. Feed yourself good things. Now, that's not to say that you should bury your head in the sand and totally ignore the world's problems. That's not what I'm saying at all. We should all be aware of what's going on in the world around us. But when you are suffering from depression, the world can seem overwhelming. And giving yourself some love will do a lot to combat that. Now, if you are suffering from depression, please go get some help. Please see a professional. Please see a doctor. Please get some help. The worst thing that anyone would ever say to me when I was going through depression was, you're not serious. You don't mean that. It'll go away tomorrow. You'll feel better tomorrow. And none of that's true. None of that. When you're suffering from depression, you need help from someone who knows what they're doing. You need to see a professional doctor or therapist or psychiatric person. Whatever your budget can afford, do it. Get some help. Because these are all good tools that I'm telling you. They're all good things to have in your life, but they won't cure your depression. You need professional help for that. And you can't start using these tools until your depression is under control. Until you feel good enough to actually be proactive and do those things. It's not going to work. So that is my spiel, so to speak. I will be making more videos about my own experience with depression. And I hope that somebody out there benefits from this, and I hope that somebody out there pays attention to the people around them and picks up on those little signs that people give, or somebody who is suffering from depression sees a doctor or a therapist and gets some help, because we're all worthy of being saved, and we're all worthy of love, even when we don't feel like it. We're still human beings who deserve to feel whole and good and loved and have a a good life. So stay happy and be well.